All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Harakah Kodash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, preaching this word in all truth and sincerity. So this is another update, all right, on World War III. Okay, the third woe, as the scriptures call it, which is end-time biblical prophecy. We are the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and you got Israelite foreigners as well. The other nations, of course, starting with Esau, the so-called white man, who are the Hebrew Edomites, all right, the wicked, the devil that the Bible speaks of. Then, of course, you have the other nations now. The Iranians, they are the Persians spoken of in Ezekiel 38. All right. And World War III is taking place right now. The third woe. The war to end all wars. So it says, the title, Iran unleashes hell. Israel-Iran war live. Iran launches massive missile attack on Israel. And you see the rubble, the aftermath of those missiles that were fired on Israel, which those people in our land that call themselves Israelis, they are Edomites. They are Hebrew Edomites, all right, that descend from the tribe of Amalek. Okay, they are imposters. All right, they're a farce. Okay, they are not the real Hebrew Israelites. All right. Salakia, let me turn off these notifications. But yeah, Russia's going to get involved. China's going to get involved. Okay, the Muslim world, these Muslim countries, Islamic states are going to get involved. And it's going to cause dissension between America and the beast, which is NATO and the EU. All right, Turkey, which is a country that is part of NATO and the EU, all right, the beast, they are going to eventually side with Iran, which is spoken of in Ezekiel 38. Russia being a guard unto Libya, Ethiopia, all right, Persia, and Togarmah, which is Turkey. Okay, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, all right, and verse 28. It says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. This is all taking place in the so-called Middle East, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. All right, these, these Arabians, these Ishmaelites in Saudi Arabia, right? They got many chariots. And not just them, but you got these other Islamic states, Hezbollah, Yemen, okay, Syria. Okay, but this is speaking of the dragons of Arabia, which are Ishmaelites. All right, the Saudi Arabians. And they're going to come out with many chariots because, the U.S. military, all right, has a lot of bases there in Saudi Arabia. Okay, Iran just attacked Dubai, which is part of the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Okay, the United Arab Emirates are those dragons of Arabia. And they're going to come forth with these chariots. All right, these military vehicles that Esau, the so-called white man, and the U.S. government and their allies have placed there in those bases. Okay, we already see their troops pulling out of these bases, just like what took place in with the Taliban in Afghanistan. Okay, they just left all their fucking hardware there, and the Taliban was armed. okay, with these vehicles, with these weapons. Okay, so eventually these Arabians are going to come out with many chariots, with high-level weaponry. It says, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath, which the Carmanians are the Persians, the people of Iran. Okay, the name was changed from Persia to Iran here in the 20th century. Okay, and Carmania was also a place in Iran, in Persia. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And if you look at a wild boar that's in the woods, all right, especially out here in America, there will be some fucking boars, wild boars, that are massive. And a boar isn't like a regular pig on a farm, man. Boars are very powerful. Okay, they got those tusks they could just thrust you with. A boar is a very powerful animal. Okay, so it's saying that these Carmanians, these Iranians, are going to come forth as wild boars of the wood. And when you look at wild boars, they're huge. They could be the size of, like, you know, they could be the size of a small vehicle, man, bigger. A small pickup truck, man, or bigger. It says, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which these Assyrians spoken of is dealing with the U.S. military. Okay? Because they got a lot of those bases there in the Middle East. And they're starting to attack those portions of Esau's military in the Middle East. And not just, you know, the American military, but also Israel. Okay? They attacked a CIA headquarters out there in the Middle East. I don't know if it was in Israel or if it was in amongst the Arab states or countries. Okay? It says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. You see, so these Iranians are going to start unleashing hell, just like this video says. Iran unleashes hell. Look at that. Okay, if hell were a place on earth, which the scriptures call, you know, death and hell thrown into the lake of fire, it would be the aftermath of conventional war. And conventional warfare is conducted now with missiles, ICBMs, and soon to be nuclear weapons. Okay, so they're starting to unleash hell on Esau Edom, which is the modern day Assyrian, the modern day Babylonian. All right, prophecy is being fulfilled before our eyes. We are about to get delivered up out of this wicked man's kingdom. Okay? Because this wicked man's kingdom is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire and by the Lord himself with his chariots like a whirlwind. All right? We're going to be delivered up out of here, man. And like the Apostle Tahar said, the majority of the prophets and the major branch, if you will, of men preaching and prophesying is out here in America, man, Babylon the Great. So this is where the greatest deliverance is going to take place. And not only that, but the greatest destruction. Okay? America's going to be destroyed totally by nuclear missiles. And not just America, but the land of Israel as well is going to get destroyed with nuclear missiles, man. By nuclear missiles. So with that, all right, just stay prayed up and keep preaching. We're almost out of here. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Arakakodash. And double honors to our apostles and elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Shalom.